What's going on? Pete Moriarty here. Welcome to yet another Q&A. I'm in my new studio and I'm looking forward to sharing with you, answering your questions, hanging out if you're on the live. Please say hello if you're on the live. Let me know where you're watching from. And this is open territory. It's going to be good fun. And I've got some fresh questions my team have prepared. We've got... Let me turn off the audio on my iPad there so I don't feed back. Lots of fresh questions. My team have prepared some, but we've also got open Q&A from you as well. If you head to ask.itgenius.com, you can drop in a question and I'll be able to pull it up on the screen here. We've got a few here, but if you drop one in, I'll try and grab any of the live ones that come through. So go ahead and drop your questions in live. Ask.itgenius.com. Let me just fix my camera here, and yeah, we're gonna get through as many as we can until I run out of energy, or until my internet breaks, because I'm borrowing internet from someone today. So we'll see how we go. Anyway, welcome if you're on the live. Thanks for joining. We're at 49.6 thousand subscribers, which is pretty cool. 50,000 milestone coming up. I said to my team, when we get to 100,000, I'm going to have a nice silver play thing up in my studio there. When we get to 50,000, everyone's going to get a high five. We're not done yet. Anyway, but if you're new to the channel, welcome. We help business owners systemize, organize, and scale using Google Workspace and other small business tech tools. And we've got lots of content on the channel around Google Workspace, around systems, around productivity, around organizing your people and using tech tools to do that. And I've got a weird affliction where I love this stuff and it comes naturally to me. So I try and, as much as possible, share and help small business owners work out their tech and make it work better for them. So the Q&As that we do here are my opportunity to answer any questions that you have, the audience, the person watching or listening. And if you want me to answer one live, head along to ask.itgenius.com. Drop in your question, and I'll do my best to answer it on an upcoming stream. Now, before we jump into your questions, my team have curated a couple of questions, so I better get through those first. And this is a good one. Someone asks, what is the best way to manage tasks with Google Workspace tools? And tasks have been on a bit of a journey, to be honest. They started out pretty basic and rudimentary. They were just on a sidebar inside of Gmail, but bit by bit, tasks have got better and better. And they're now right across the Google ecosystem, and they're actually useful. In the past, I really didn't recommend anyone ever use tasks because it was just a bit of a pain to go into Gmail to access them, and they didn't really do anything. Like you could task an email, and that would let you remember to go and check an email, but it did nothing else, and it wasn't really available anywhere else. It was only available in Gmail on the web. And it was basically not much better than just starring an email or labeling an email, and it didn't really do anything else. Now, Tasks is right across the Google ecosystem, and they've done a pretty good job of making it useful inside Workspace. You can access tasks from inside your Gmail. You can access tasks from a sidebar. You can access tasks from a dedicated tasks window within Calendar. And there's even a mobile app for tasks as well. And if you create a task in one place, it goes right across Google Workspace. So it's accessible everywhere you can access tasks. Also, if you create a task inside a Google chat room, well, that also goes to your task system and it goes everywhere. If you put a due date on your task, that's also going to appear on your calendar. So you've got tasks everywhere. I'm going to give you a demo of that now and kind of show you how these things work, some of the things that I use tasks for, and where I recommend you use it, where I recommend you don't use it as well, because I only use tasks for really kind of specific things right now, because I've got other apps that I use for getting work done outside of Google Tasks. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Let's start where tasks first started, and that's inside my Gmail. I've got a cool little app here which actually hides my inbox. It's called Inbox When Ready. So I have to click Show Inbox to have my inbox appear, but it's nice. It keeps me away from distractions. If you're wondering where my emails are, that's why you can't see them. But on the right-hand column here, if I click onto tasks, you can see here, we've got a number of different tasks sitting here in my list. Now, some of these are overdue. Some of these I don't have any for today actually, but if I want to create a new task, it's pretty straightforward, right? I'll say here, I'll just call it test task. How about that? Cool. So I can hit the return button. It prompts me to add a new task, and very, very simple. Now, if I decide, I can give it a due date. That's pretty cool. I can even create recurring tasks now, which is pretty useful. Thank you, Google. And I can star a task, and that puts all my tasks on one starred list of tasks, which is pretty cool. I'll go ahead and leave this one starred. So that's the first place that we find our tasks. Let's see where else we can get access to our tasks. So the next place would be, here we go, in my Google Calendar. So my calendar's got all my standard stuff in here. Now you see a whole bunch of green stuff up the top. That's actually my Asana calendar. So it's lots of tasks that I've got on Asana. If I unsubscribe from that calendar or just hide it for now, that'll make this a little bit cleaner for us. And there's two places I can access tasks inside my calendar. Now the first one is, again, on the right-hand side. You can see here my task is sitting here. And there's actually a second place. There's now a dedicated task window here in my calendar. And this is where you really access the heart of tasks in Google. This is now it used to be like, I think, tasks.google.com or shoppinglist.google.com was one kind of iteration of it. Now it all just sits in your calendar in the tasks window. I'm curious what happens if I go to tasks.google.com. Let's just see if it goes anywhere. I'm assuming it redirects. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we've got a dedicated tasks window, which to me seems, I guess, a little bit unnecessary when we've just got them sitting here in calendar. It's exactly the same thing. So you may as well just go to calendar and switch over to tasks. Now, immediately you'll see there's different lists here of tasks, right? So we've got there's the standard like my tasks, but then we've got another list here. So, here I might choose, let's rename this list. I don't know, maybe this is going to be my shopping list, right? There we go. And I can create as many of these as I like. How do I create a new list? Here we go, create a new list. It's on the left-hand side. So if I create a new list, what else might it be? Home, right? Stuff to do at home. Okay, cool. So I can go ahead and create as many tasks as I like there. Now, when I'm in this all tasks window, it's going to consolidate all those tasks. Let's put some things on the shopping list. Milk and eggs. Sorry if you're vegan or lactose intolerant. When I switch back to my calendar, let's see what happens here. Okay, so I've got a drop down here where I can choose stuff on my tasks or shopping list or home list. That's going to allow me to switch between the different lists there. Personally, I find when I want to work with my tasks in Google, I tend to switch over to this task view, and I've got multiple lists of tasks. Now, I've got two accounts. I've got my business account that's here. I don't use this for tasks much, but I also have my personal account, and I've got lots of tasks there. That's where I've got a shopping list. I've got stuff at home. I've got stuff that I want to buy online. All of those different things sit in their own list of tasks. The only thing that's really missing here that I'd love to see that Google haven't yet implemented is the ability to share a task list. Previously, when using the shopping list feature or using Google Keep, you could actually collaborate on a list with someone else. So you could share a list with someone and it would just share that one list, and then multiple people could add things. Perfect for a shopping list, right? Unfortunately, you can't do this here. If you want to collaborate on a list of things with other people, you need to create a room, like a chat room, and I'll show you that in a moment, how to do that and create shared tasks there. I'm not 100% sure if those tasks work across different domain names. We can test that when I get to that. But that's how you access tasks if you want to share any kind of tasks with someone else. Otherwise, these tasks here inside my tasks window are my own tasks. These are just my ones. Cool. Okay. So when you set a due date on a task, and as an example, this test task, I'm going to make this one due today. It's going to show up on my calendar, which is pretty cool. So if I switch back to calendar mode and I make sure my tasks are here on the calendar. All right, look, here we go. I was on the wrong week. All right. You'll see here that I've got test tasks, that one that I just created, sitting here on my calendar. And there's also 4 pending tasks. Now, pending means they're due in the past and I didn't get them done. So they just show up here in pending tasks, which is pretty cool. Now, by default, a task has like an all-day due date, meaning that this is here basically for the whole day, and it doesn't really matter what time you get it done. And that's useful because quite often you'll have tasks where you don't know what time you're going to get to it, but you want to get to it during the course of the day. And that's the reason that this is, maybe not a calendar event, that this is just a task sitting there, is because I don't know exactly what time I'm going to do it. But if you do know what time you're going to do it, or you want to allot some time to get it done, you could drag and drop a task and you can put it on your calendar. Now, it just takes a little 30-minute slot there on the calendar, and you can see here it's updated the due date to be today at that time, 12 p.m. for my task there. So if you want to do like kind of time blocking, or at the start of the day you've got a bunch of tasks sitting here and you want to move them onto your calendar so you know what order you want to get them done and organize your day, that's a great way to do that. Now, you'll hear more from me on what other tools I use for task management. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you just have tasks that you need to get done on a particular day and you want a simple task system, this works great. So, okay, we've covered how to create a task. We've covered the calendar as well, where you can access tasks. Let's have a look at what else we can do with tasks getting a little bit more advanced. So I mentioned that you can access tasks in chat, and I'm going to go ahead and open up a chat room here. I think maybe I'll open up my my marketing team chat room here. And I've got my normal threads and conversations. If you've watched my other videos on Google Chat, you'll know that we're really quite disciplined and diligent at making sure that we set like a chat discussion topic, and then we just put all the replies underneath. It's so the room doesn't turn into a big mess like most chat rooms inevitably do. But you'll see here in any chat room that I have set up, or spaces as they're now called, there's shared documents and stuff, and then there's also tasks. So here we go. If I want to create a task and I create it in this space or chat room with my team, well, I can click the add space task. I'll call it test. Right, and I'm going to add it in here. Now, immediately, everyone in this room is going to be able to see this task and they can access it. I think they might be able to tick it off. I'm not sure for certain. But there's a couple of other cool things I can do here is I can assign it to someone else, right? So if I want to assign that to Georgia, our head of content, I can assign it to Georgia. I can even add a date and time. So I can say, hey, this one's going to be due by tomorrow. And didn't know that you could do this. You can open up a conversation around that task. So here is a reply. Just going to say testing so she doesn't get confused. You can open up a thread regarding that task, and I can even click back into the task. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty groovy. Now, the tasks inside of Google Workspace are not much more sophisticated than this. This is a very basic, rudimentary task system, and for that reason, I don't recommend you use it for teams. If you just need something and you've got 2 or 3 people total in the business and you just want to delegate things to someone else and you don't want to have to deal with yet another app or doing things differently, sure, okay, maybe this is the right solution for you. But if you've got more than 3 people, if you need to actually deliver projects, if you want task templates, if you want organization of tasks when you've got a whole bunch of tasks to work on, you're very quickly going to find the limits of Google Tasks. I love Google Tasks for my own stuff. If I've got something that I absolutely must do today, I'll put it on my task list. And then I've got that list of tasks just sitting there ready and waiting for me when I open my calendar. When I open my calendar, you'll see, obviously, anything that I don't get to creates a new recurring reminder every day that there's something that I need to get done. But like any task list, it's easy to become overwhelmed. And so if I have 20 or 30 or 40 tasks here, I'm probably just not going to get to them because I'll end up in overwhelm. Now, my team will delegate tasks to me, but they don't use this system. We use Asana in our business for all of our content production, for all of our customer project delivery, for all of our internal strategy, for all of our performance reporting, employee files. Asana is the life of our business. And that's a phenomenal piece of software which helps me get a lot done. I can open it up and see what are the 5 or 10 pieces of content that I need to review and sign off on before they go out to the channel. But the challenge with a system like that is sometimes if there's 1 or 2 things I really want to get done today, I can get caught up in the whirlwind of all the other stuff that's in Asana if I go ahead and log into that. Now, of course, I can highlight a task, I can make it high priority. There's multiple ways of doing that. But there's something kind of special about going to my calendar and seeing the absolute must-haves sitting on my calendar here. And that's why for some things that maybe are in Asana or in another system, but I absolutely want to get them done, I'll double up and put them on my calendar using Google Tasks. So that's what I use it for. If you're someone who's got another task management system, it'd probably be best for you to use that for most of your stuff. And maybe you just use this for the really important things. Or if you're a small team, no more than 2 or 3 people, you could potentially get away with using this as your primary task management system for you and your team. Okay, well, now we've covered that. I'm curious to see. I need to cover mobile access. Okay, great. So I've got on my mobile phone, there is a dedicated Google Tasks app, which is very handy because it means that all my tasks are available on the go. I've got my account logged in here on my phone, and I'm able to see everything on my task lists, including all of the due dates. Of course, if I change or update anything here, it's going to automatically reflect on all my different devices automatically. And one of the things that I really do like about this in the Google ecosystem is where previously I couldn't create a task from my Google Calendar, now I can. When I'm on the Google Calendar app, all I need to do is click the plus button, and then I can click task, and I can go ahead and create a task from my mobile, including a due date and all those kind of things. I tend to spend a lot of time in the calendar app because I do a lot of things on the go. I'm in and out of meetings, in and out of chit-chatting with my team, and if we need to schedule a meeting, I'm straight in the calendar app, and I do that while I'm moving, not necessarily waiting until I'm back at my computer or laptop to go and plug in and redo something else. So I really like the ability to add a task straight from the calendar app. It makes it easy. I can pick the day I want to get it done. And then when I'm back in work mode, sitting in front of my computer, I can then see all of my tasks on my calendar right here. So very useful to have tasks there. Now, I think it's probably a good idea now to maybe test if we're able to add a task to an external room. Let's see if we can do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete some of my test tasks here, and I'm going to create a fresh. Space. Let's go create a space. Test external tasks. Okay, now if I want to make this accessible to people outside my company, I have to remember to tick this box, allow external members to join. So I'm going to do that. And okay, so far looking positive. We have the tasks screen here. I'm going to go ahead and invite, I've got a personal email address here. There we go. Okay, so I'm inviting an external address, and then I'm going to go ahead and sign into chat using that external address. Now I should be able to find the space that I've just been invited to. Where is it? Okay, can't see it so far. Let's see if I can search for it. There we go, external tasks. I'm going to go ahead and join. So I'm now signed in with my personal account. And all right, I'm in the room. So let's go back to my main business account. This might get a bit confusing because the interface looks the same, but just look in the top right-hand corner so you can see which one I'm working with. And I'm going to go ahead and create a task. So let's create a task in this shared room for external. Right, and then I'll create test task for internal. Okay, now the internal task I'm going to assign to myself. And then, all right, that's looking pretty positive so far. And then the external task I'm going to assign to the other Peter, to outside Peter. And that appears to be working. Well, that's pretty cool. Look at that. All right, so let's go to the external chat here. You can see there's a couple of chat updates that have been made with those tasks there. And let's click through to tasks. Let's see what I can see from my second account. All right, now that's weird. They both say assigned to you. That seems to be a bug because one of them is definitely not assigned to me, but the pictures don't lie. That is so weird that Google would have that bug there. Huh, interesting, maybe because their name is the same. Anyway, but they're definitely assigned to two different accounts. Now what I'm curious about is how does this look on mobile? Because I want to know if this has actually showed up on my mobile account. Because if that's the case, then we've solved the issue of not being able to collaborate on tasks. Okay, so right now I'm in my business account, and up the top of my business account, apologies, I don't have my phone plumbed into the computer currently. So I've got here my business account. You can see the little business photo there, and I've got the task, right? So the task is sitting there up the top, and it even says what room it's from, which is pretty cool. So, you know, if I wanted to make this a shopping list, I would call the room shopping list, probably. Interestingly, this just appears in my tasks. It doesn't appear in a separate task list. So it's going to potentially muddy up your my tasks, which is, you know, a bit of an issue, but that's okay. And then I'm going to switch to my personal account. Here we go. So on my personal account, you can see there is also a task that has appeared. Now it's called General in my one, but there we go. It's appeared. The external task assigned to me in the General one is here in my tasks, the test external task. So we've solved it. That's amazing. Great. We've solved collaboration. So there you go. You can collaborate with someone outside your business, or you can collaborate with someone inside your business if that's useful to you as well. Now, just remember, it's marginally useful overall. Google Tasks, marginally useful. They're useful for small things like this. If you want to stay in the Google ecosystem, if you like your life being simple and easy, okay, great, stick to this. If you want to do anything that's more advanced, more sophisticated in tasking, Gantt charts, timelines, time billing, subtasks. You might be able to do subtasks here. Let me check. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Dependencies, any of that kind of stuff. Start dates as well as end dates. You got to choose a more sophisticated task management system. We love Asana. Search the channel for Asana if you want to find more videos on Asana. Otherwise, Trello, Monday, ClickUp, Rike, whatever your flavor is, doesn't matter. I don't really care what you use, but use something in your business. Either Google Tasks if you're a baby business, or if you're growing and scaling, then consider a more sophisticated task platform. Great question. Thanks for that one, Georgia. That's going to be a long video for the team to edit, but that's all right. I'm sure they will work it out. Cool. Well, I'm going to move on to my next one. I'm going to check if I've got any live questions through yet. I don't know when they were actually posted up, but I know what the latest one is. Lonnie Green. Okay. So if you're on the live, I can see there's a handful of people watching. Welcome. Let me know where you're watching from. And say hello. Please say hello. These are really boring when no one chats to me. So we've got someone selling Google Voice. I don't know. I don't know if they're selling. Sometimes we get people trying to sell Google Voice on the channel, which is a bit weird in the comments. But please say hello. I'm a real person and I'm here. I love when people interact and say hello. And if you've got a question, drop it into ask.itgenius.com. There's a link there on the live chat. Ask.itgenius.com, and that will appear in my question queue here, and I'm going to get through as many questions as I can. Okie dokie. Bear with me while I adjust my air conditioner. It's a bit warm in here. Okie dokie. So my next pre-prepared question from my team. How do I set up email aliases in Gmail? Well, let me give you a bit of a email alias masterclass. Aliases are a cool little feature which allows you to receive email from multiple email addresses into one mailbox. Now, often on the channel, I talk about how Google pricing works, and the easiest way to think about it is to think about buckets of email. For each bucket of email, otherwise known as a mailbox, you'll pay for one user license. Even if you have multiple email addresses or multiple domain names arriving in that one bucket or mailbox, you'll only pay per bucket. Now, what that means is you can be pretty smart if you've got multiple brands, if you've got multiple email addresses, if you change your email address to a new one, you can be smart with that. And it means that you don't have to worry about doubling up on licensing costs, even if you've got multiple email addresses that different users need to use. So let's jump into how to set up aliases and how they work. So we set up aliases first in the admin panel. So to do that, we go to admin.google.com. You need to be a super administrator to do this. So you need to be, the business owner or the person responsible for administrating the Google account. And we're going to set up aliases in the user menu. So you go to directory and then to users. You can see here we've got a whole bunch of users. And in this case, I'm going to find myself. I'm big enough that I have to search. All right. And I can set up aliases for my account. Now, how do I do that? I think in user information. Yes, okay. In user information. Okay. So here you can see I've got a number of alternative email addresses configured. And these ones are my different addresses that are aliases. So if I want to create a fresh alias, I'm going to add what it calls here an alternative email. And maybe I want, info@itgenius.com to come to me. I'm going to put in the word info here. And then if you've got multiple domains set up on your account, multiple add-on domains, they're called, then I can choose from a drop-down which domain name out of, usually you would have a choice, in this case I don't, out of the different add-on domain names that I have available. Now, if you have alias domains configured for your account, that is an alias that works for the whole company. So I'll show you what they look like because it's always good to see that. Let's go to account, domains, and manage domains. We've got a number of alias domains for our account. You can see here we've got .asia and we've got .com.au. And what that means is anytime I send an email to peter@itgenius.asia, it's automatically going to be an alias for my account. And in the user screen, if I click on show alternative emails, you can see that these are automatically coming through for different domain names. Now that'll happen for .asia and it'll happen for the other domain names that I add as alias domains. So just a reminder, if you add an individual alternative email, that's a single alias for a single person. If you add an alias domain in the domains section, well then that will act as an alias for every user that you have in the company. The other option is to add a secondary domain, previously called an add-on domain. And the secondary domain will let you choose from a drop-down different domain names to add alternative aliases from, if you decide you want to add different aliases from domain names. Okay, so once we've got this set up, that's covered us for the incoming mail, but it doesn't actually cover us for the outgoing mail, right? You might want to send email from your alias outgoing as well. So we have to actually set that up inside our Gmail. It doesn't happen automatically, which is a bit strange actually. I'm sure it would be easy enough for Google to work that out. But when I hit the compose button and I send a new email, just close out of this, I can choose which email address I want to send from. And you can see I've got a number of different options that I can send from here. But I have to actually set those up. So first, to set up an alias as a sending address, we're going to go into the settings and then see all settings. And then what do we got here? I think it's in accounts. Here we go. Okay, so in accounts, you can choose to send mail as. Now, here's where it can sometimes get a little bit confusing because you can choose to send email addresses from an alias within Google Workspace, or you can choose to send email from a completely unrelated email address, as long as you own it. So if you have a Hotmail address or an Apple address or something else, you can choose to actually have that address as a sending address inside your Gmail. Pretty cool, right? So that's where when you click add another email address, you've got to be careful which one you add and be mindful that you're going to have different options, whether you're sending from Gmail or you're sending from something else. So let's go ahead and choose to send from that alias, info@itgenius.com. Now, because this is from itgenius.com and itGenius is already registered as a domain, it should send this straight through. There we go. Okay. So all it's going to ask for is a verification. If you've set up the email address as a secondary domain alias, or if you've configured the user to have the individual alias on their account, this verification will be delivered. I haven't actually set it up, so if I were to send it to that, I don't know where that's going to go. I don't even know if that one's valid. But if I were to, for example, set it up as media@itGenius, I don't think I have that set up. No, I don't. Okay, great. So I'm going to set up another one, media@itgenius.com, right? Send it through. Okay, it's thinking about it. Why is that thinking about it? All right, try one more time. Okay, maybe we're having some internet problems. Let's try a restart. Well, that's interesting. I hope I'm still streaming. But anyway, it seems to be stuck, but you get the idea. You go through the wizard. It asks you to verify. You're going to get a verification email that comes to you in your inbox. And then from there, oh, I think that might have come back. That looks suspiciously like a Gmail bug. Let's try another reload just in case that helps. Add an email address. Nope, it's dead. It's dead, Jim. All right, it's not going to work, but you get the idea. You're going to get a confirmation email. You're going to accept the confirmation, and after you've accepted the confirmation, you're verifying that you're actually the owner of that email address, and then you can send from that email address. Now, if it's an external address, and I can't show it to you, unfortunately, but if it's an external address, you're going to be asked for details on the mail server to be able to send from that address, because Google can't just pretend to be somebody else. It has to send it through an authenticated mail server, and you'll need the details for an external address to be able to do that. Cool. Okay, so that's how to set up aliases for incoming email and aliases for external email. So from there, that's all pretty straightforward. You set up the accounts, and then when you're in your inbox and you're composing an email, you then have the option to choose which email addresses you want to send from. You can also choose which signature you use for your different aliases. So inside my settings, again, let's go and open up my settings. In the signature panel, which is under general, I just need to scroll down. You can see I've got a signature here, which is just my default signature. If I want, I can choose multiple signatures here. But for each one of my aliases, I can actually choose which signature I use. And if I decide to use multiple different aliases, I may choose to use multiple different signatures, or I can use the same signature for all of them. That's also pretty easy and straightforward. So there we go. That's setting up aliases in Gmail and using aliases in Gmail. The next one that I can cover off for you is how aliases work with groups. It's pretty similar, to be honest. We go again into our directory and then into groups. And from here, we can review what groups we have and set aliases for those groups. So you'll see here I've got board@itgenius.com. if I want to create an alias, I click on the group information here, and then you can see there's a number of aliases that have been added, including for secondary domains. Now, all you need to do is add an alias for the primary domain, and the alias domains are going to be automatic. You can see here they've also been automatically created, and all of those will work. Now, the thing is with groups and aliases is if you don't have the group set for external access, then no one's going to be able to email this alias from outside your company. They can email from inside the company, but not outside the company. That's set in your permissions in Google Groups. So you can see here who can post to the group. If you want people outside your company to be able to send an email to these email addresses and have it appear in those inboxes, you need to make sure that external access to posting is available, which effectively receives an email on behalf and then sends it out to everyone's inboxes. Now, I've got many other videos on the channel on distribution groups, on permissions groups, on setting up emails so that you have shared mailboxes. I'll save that for another video, or you can go and search the videos that we've got on the channel already. But there you go. That's an overview of everything to do with aliases, how you use them. There is one caveat if you're using aliases inside your Gmail, and that is that you can't send a calendar invite from an alias. Calendar invites will only be sent from your main email address, your primary email address, which is a bit of a bummer because some people like to run two businesses in one Google Workspace account. Meaning that they're using their one Workspace account with multiple domain names to run completely different businesses. And it's a bit weird if you've got one login mailbox and it's like peter@peterspetsupplies.com, and then you want to send an email invitation for your accounting client because you also happen to run petersamazingaccountingfirm.com. And so you can see that that gets a little bit messy. Some customers will choose in that case to have a central domain name that's a little bit more, let's say, nondescript. So they might say like, moriartygroup.com, and then I can either have my pet supplies business or I can have my accounting firm. But, you miss out on the branding opportunity there. So I'll let you decide if you're in that case, if you are thinking about, merging domains or adding add-on domains or secondary domains or anything like that. Then check out the other videos on the channel with that. If you just search for multiple domains on the channel, you're going to find a lot there. Now, speaking of multiple domains, if you need help with your Google Workspace account and you want to do a bit of an audit on how things are right now, if you need some help or some support getting more out of this amazing platform of Google Workspace, well, consider checking out our company, itGenius. We have a concierge service, which is an all-you-can-eat consulting and support service for Google Workspace. It's extremely affordable for small and medium-sized businesses, and it's basically designed for us to be your virtual IT department for everything in the Google ecosystem, but we can also manage PCs, internet connections, help desk troubleshooting, support, antivirus, all the things you need to run a small business. We're a tech support business that supports companies all over the world, and we would love to help you with Google Workspace and your other technology tools. So if you're interested in that, there is a free consultation available. You just head along there, click on to the free consultation, and that will take you, if my website's working, here we go. We'll take you to a page where you can put in your details and then schedule a call with the team. If you want to go a bit more in depth specifically to Google Workspace, well, we've just launched a pretty amazing systems check. This is actually like a deep dive diagnosis of your Google Workspace account. We'll go through and check your settings, we'll check your admin panel, we'll make sure that everything is configured correctly for your business. We'll give you a report at the end of it and let you know what we found. You don't get a hard sell into any of our services, and this is complimentary. It's like a free systems check just to make sure that you've got everything set correctly, because we find that pretty much anyone who's set up Google Workspace themselves or had it set up by someone else that wasn't an IT professional, or maybe they were a web developer but not necessarily a Google expert, is that people miss things or they don't know what they don't know. And most business owners come to us and say, hey, I've got this amazing tool, but I want to get more out of it, and I don't know what else I can get out of the platform. And so that's where this is a great opportunity to explore that with our team. Now, if you're on the live stream, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. This is pre-release. It's not yet on the website. So you'll be one of the first people to access that if you're interested in taking us up on that offer. Okay, well, let's get back to your questions now. And I'm going to go to our live question box now. This is on our Q&A. So you can head along to Ask info@itgenius.com. And ask away. Ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer it for you. Or you can pop it in the chat. If you're on the live, I can see there's a bunch of people on the live. You can go ahead and drop it in there. So Anonymous asks, I do not get the option to allow external members to join space when creating a new space. So that's interesting. So if I recreate what this person's talking about, inside of Google Chat, when you go to create a new space, here, create a space, you have the option to allow external members to join or not. And that should be self-explanatory. This basically says, is this chat room going to be open to people outside my company, or is it going to be restricted to just our business? And the thing is that you have to set this up when you create the space. You can't change this at a later date, which is, I think a bit of a bummer, but I guess it's reasonably good for security that no one accidentally, exposes data that people think is internal data to external. But it does get a bit annoying if you've got like a big chat room with a bunch of history and you want to change this setting. Either you want to take something that was external and make it private, only internal, or you want to take something that was internal and just add like one contractor from outside the company. It gets pretty frustrating. Anyway, so choose wisely when you create a room. You've got to make sure that you get this ticked correctly. But if it's not there at all, I'm going to assume that's a policy issue. And so for policy issues, we need to go and look in the admin panel. So if you're new, you head to admin.google.com. And typically, I recommend search is usually the easiest way to find your way around. So I'm actually going to search for external space and just see if it happens to come up. Here we go. So we've got chat and space access default. They look like they would be pretty useful. There's also chat externally, external chat settings. So let's go ahead and look at our chat settings here and see what we can find. Okay, so we have service settings. Select which services are available to users. So is this switched on? Yes, chat is switched on. Okay, history for chats and space history. I don't think we need either of those. Okay, is there anything else that we've got here? I think I need to go up one level to settings for Google Chat. Okay, cool. Let's have a look at some of the settings that might be relevant here. So we have, oops, I clicked the wrong button there. All right, so history for chats, smart features and personalization. It's got all of these. Got all these sub-menus here. All right, we're going to have to find the right one. History for chats. History for spaces. Auto deletion. Chat file sharing. Chat invitations. External chat settings. Okay. Oh, external spaces. Allow users to create and join spaces with people outside their organization. Switched on. So if I were to switch that off, there we go. I can also leave it on and have only whitelisted domains, which is pretty cool. That setting doesn't control external chat communication. External spaces is switched on for your organization. External chats option is ticked. Some users will lose access to external spaces. Okay, interesting. There we go. You can choose to lock it down to certain domains, but otherwise you can just leave it on for everyone if you want to leave it on for everyone. So this person obviously has that setting, set incorrectly. You've also got some adjacent settings like the ability to switch on and off chat invitations and the ability to switch on and off external chat settings. So they're two other things where it might be related to external users. All right, well, cool. We've solved that one. Thanks for asking, Anonymous. All right, let me get myself a little drink of water here. Okay, I'm an existing Google Workspace licensed user being used for a few years and would like to switch it to a group mailbox. Okay, cool. Well, I have covered this before, I think. Let me double check. Switch to group. The only way to do that is a migration. Transfer emails from user account to Google Group. There we go. I covered that about a year ago. The short answer to this one is that you you need to, well, there's two options. If you want to make it a delegated mailbox, lets someone else see into your mailbox. That might work fine. But if you want it to literally be a collaborative inbox group, which is a special kind of group setup, then it's probably not going to work. And I would recommend, I covered this really well just recently. Shared mailboxes. Let's see if I can find that for you. It's one of these videos. I wonder if that's the one. I think that's the one. Aliases, distribution, and shared mailboxes. That would be the one to watch. All right, cool. Sorry, I can't give you a better answer on that one. Okay, my MX lookup says no DNS records and no DMARC. Well, you're probably not getting emails. So if you've got an issue with emails, you can always go to our website and go to a quick fix. Head along to quick fix. That's the fastest way to get support for any tech issue. It's a couple of $100. If you've buggered up your DNS and you're not receiving emails, quick fix is the easiest way to go ahead and get it sorted. Okay. Good question, though. You'll need to fix your DNS. All right. Despite having paid for your service, my team are now facing serious disruptions. Okay, this is not the place to answer that question. Just contact our team, ask to escalate, and they'll be able to get it sorted. Okay, I really don't know why that was put there because I can't do much to help about that. But if you ever have any issues with our team, you can go straight to our team on help@itgenius.com. Ask to escalate. So just ask the team to escalate and they'll get it to the leadership team and they'll get it sorted for you. Cool. Okay. Rebecca, hi. Can you please help me? I need to migrate an old Google Workspace account and domain to a new one. Can you do this for me? I need to transfer all the docs, contacts, and emails from old Workspace to a new one. Be very careful with this. If you're a business owner and you want to move from an old account to a new account, usually what that means is people want to change from an old domain to a new domain. And the simplest way to do that is to just change your domain. Now, that's a reasonably technical process to get that done because you need to set up your DNS and there's a method to doing it to make sure you don't lose data or get people locked out of their accounts. But what you don't have to do is take all the data out of one account and move it all into a new account manually. You can change the domain name, which just literally changes the name of everything, without having to go from an old account to a new account. So don't do that manual process between accounts. You don't need to, but chat to our team about a domain change on your account, and our team will be able to help you with that. That is pretty easy and straightforward. All right, cool. Here's another one. Toolbox says my domain doesn't have DKIM, DMARC, MTACS, DNS. No Google Exchanger found. That also sounds like someone who's missing DNS records. We have a great guide on DNS. If you head along to the channel and search for DNS, there's a 30-minute guide on setting up your DNS from start to finish. If I can only find the video. Here we go. Cool. So 27-minute video here. How to check and fix your DNS records to make sure they're working correctly. So go ahead and check out that guide. If you're still stuck at the end of that, quick fix. Go to our team, couple $100, they'll get it fixed for you immediately. And during business hours, our team are literally standing by, ready to take on your call. So if you're someone who needs help and you're not a super technical person, you can get access to our team very, very quickly and easily. All right, do we resell Workspace education plans? If so, is there any benefits from buying from you compared to other companies? So we are not able to resell education plans for Workspace because they're free. So unfortunately, we can't create like a billing relationship. We can if you want. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. I'm not sure what happened there, but every now and again, we have internet issues. Just checking my stream. Looks like my Wi-Fi dropped, which is pretty rare. And it looks like we're back. Wonderful. Okay, great. We are back. Hopefully the interruption wasn't too bad. Anyway, but I covered this one. If you didn't catch that video, if it cut before I finished it, then no trouble. That will be cut up and probably posted to the channel later. Okay. Can we move ownership of the documents in Google Drive, switch over the Google My Business from one account to another so the ownership gets transferred? Should I have the admin account be my new email address so I can control who sees what? Okay, well, there's 3 questions here. Let me try and get my head around these. Okay, so can you change ownership of documents in Google? Yes. If you want to change the owner of a document, you can open the individual document and choose to give it a new owner. Let's show you how that works. So let's go into Google Drive. And we'll go ahead and open up a document. The Puppy's Guide to Corporate Success. That's a test I was doing yesterday. Let me find maybe something in my demo folder that's appropriate to share. All right, here we go. Web page, home page design. Okay, so I've got a file here and oh my God, I don't even know if I remember how to do this. There used to be a transfer ownership button. Here we go. Okay, cool. So if you want to transfer ownership, you can see this file's been around since 2015, like 10 years ago. So if you want to transfer ownership, you open the file, you click the share button, and then under somebody else who the file is shared with, you can choose to transfer ownership. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to prompt you, you say yes, and it's going to send them an email and say, hey, this has been given to you. Do you want to accept it? They click yes, and they accept it, right? So that's one way of transferring ownership of a file. The other way of transferring ownership, and this is honestly the smarter way to store all of your files, is to put it into a shared drive. I think it's crazy that more people don't use shared drives, or not everyone knows about shared drives, so that's why I talk about it all the time. And what shared drives allow you to do is set up a place where you can have a company drive where the company owns the files in that drive. Anytime someone puts a file into the drive, the company becomes the owner, and it's no longer owned by an individual. So if I want to move something into there, it's pretty straightforward. I can go to my drive, find a file, and I can drag and drop it into a shared drive. It's going to pop up. It's going to prompt, hey, do you want to move this to the shared drive? The ownership is going to transfer to this different company. I happen to drag it into an external drive, so it's going to move it to an external ownership. But here, if I'm in a document, I can also click this button, the move button, and I can move into a shared drive from here. So it's going to give me some that it thinks I might want to move it to. Again, it's going to pop up and prompt and say, hey, everyone who can see this shared drive, it's going to gain access. And effectively, you're no longer going to be the owner. So that's the best way to share documents, to share files with people. If you want to transfer the ownership, my recommendation is don't worry about who owns the file. Just put it in a shared drive, and then the company owns it. And then you don't have to, you don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. All right, good question. Now, should I have the admin account be my new email address so I can control who sees what? The best practice for an admin account in a Google Workspace account is to actually be a dedicated account just to be the super administrator, which you only use sometimes. That's best practice. Your account, even if you're the business owner, shouldn't necessarily be the admin account for everything, because if someone's able to compromise your account, then immediately they get access to everything if you're the super administrator. So in that case, I would recommend you watch one of our videos on the channel about setting up a free admin account, because it's possible to set up a free admin account specifically for this service. So if you go to the channel, I've just searched admin free. Create a free admin account is the first video that pops up there. Very easy to do. Workspace admin tips for best use. No, I don't think that's going to cover it. Create a separate admin for Google Workspace Plan. There you go. It's another video covering the same thing as well. Cool. All right. So that one is now answered. If you would like me to answer your question live, drop it in. ask.itgenius.com. Okay. Anonymous asks, are there ways we can create rules in emails to have certain emails forwarded to certain email addresses? Can we switch over Google Voice from one account to another? Switching over Google Voice, I don't know, but let's talk about how to have emails. Let me try that again. Let's talk about how to have certain emails forwarded to email addresses. There is a very cool trick to be able to do this inside of Gmail. So if I open up my Gmail mailbox, we have the ability to set forwarding emails or emails that are auto-forwarded in our mailboxes. So if I click to my settings here, I'll go to all settings, and then there's a forwarding menu, right? Now, I can choose different email addresses that I forward mail to. And if I want to forward every single email in my mailbox, I would choose to forward an incoming copy of all email to one of these. And you can choose what you do, right? You might want to like mark it as read or archive it or whatever. Now, you might use that in the instances where you've got a personal Gmail account and you want to forward all your stuff into a business account, or vice versa. You've got a business account and you want to forward all your stuff to a Gmail account. Be careful your staff don't do this, because that's a security risk, right? They could take a business account and forward it all to something outside your company. Be careful with that, but you can choose to lock this down via an administrator policy in the admin panel if you want. Now I've mentioned it, I should probably show you how to do that. So if you go to the admin panel and you search forwarding, here we go, automatic forwarding. You can choose who can access forwarding and who can't access forwarding. So here you go, automatic forwarding. You may choose to say, right, people in the executive organizational unit are allowed to use forwarding, but everyone else in the company is not allowed to use forwarding. And then you use your organizational unit policies and permissions to do that and apply it just for certain groups of staff. I've got a million videos on policies on the channel, so you can go and watch those. I can't get too far down that rabbit hole. But if you want to forward only certain emails, well, there's also a cool way of doing that too. But we have to do that through a filter. So first, you need to set up the email as a forwarding email. Step number one is to come in here, add a forwarding address. You input your address, you verify that you own the address, and then you've got it available for you as a forwarding address. But we're not going to click this forward a copy option. We're going to leave forwarding disabled here. Otherwise, it's going to forward everything. We only want to forward some things. So then we're going to go back to the inbox and we're going to run a search, and we're going to create a filter for the emails that we want to forward. Now, maybe I want to filter emails from google.com, right? Which are pretty important. They're, sometimes invoices, they're, sometimes like information about customers. Oh, I've got to be careful because there's some customer domains here. Oopsie. My team will have to clean that up later. Okay, I'm gonna have to choose another search here. Sorry, guys, because I can't demo with that. Asana. There we go. Asana.com. Okay, nothing sensitive in there. Great. So from here, asana.com, I can filter my messages, and I can say, right, anything that includes the words asana.com. You may choose to filter based on a domain, or it might be anything with the subject urgent. You might want to forward those. Of course, you can use all the search features here. So like, I want Asana, but I don't want any of these summary emails, right? So I could say, all right, it doesn't have the word summary, and that'll just show me emails from Asana that don't include the word summary. Okay, great. So then I'm going to hit this little button up here to go to the advanced options up the top. And then I'm going to click create a filter. And when I click create a filter, I can set all my standard filtering stuff. Maybe I want to label it so it's got a special label. Maybe I want it to skip the inbox. I don't want it for me. I want it just for someone else. But check it out. We can now choose to forward it to a certain address. Here we go. Forward it to one of the addresses that we've got set up in our forwarding options. Now, you've got a link there to create a new address. I didn't even know that was there. If you want to add a forwarding address, you can do it right from here. But if you've already done step one and added a forwarding address, then you just choose the address you want to forward to, boom, hit create filter. Bob's your uncle, you're good to go. So there you go. That is how you filter certain emails, but not all emails in Gmail. All right, I think I'm going to have to wrap up here. Lots of great questions here, but I'm getting a little bit low on energy, so I think I'm just going to do one more. I have a random question. I run an accounting firm and I've used Microsoft Excel, but I like Google Workspace. Do you think Google Workspace works well for accounting, or would you recommend I stick with Microsoft 365 Business? Do you recommend Google Workspace and a subscription to Microsoft Excel? Well, you kind of answered your own question there. That is my recommendation. I love Google for everything. I think building teams in a cloud-first environment, particularly if you've got geographically distributed teams, that Google is a better solution as an ecosystem. I love their software. I love that it works in the web. I love that I don't have to install junk on my computer. I love that it doesn't crash. It doesn't give me bugs. I love that it's not different between a Mac and a Windows machine. What I see is what everybody else sees because it all just works in the browser. Now, Microsoft is unfortunately a part of the lives of many lawyers and accountants, and you're kind of stuck with it because not only are some customers going to prefer it, but some of your software potentially only works with Microsoft as well. And we've seen this in many of our customers that are accountants and lawyers as well. The challenge is, even though if I was running an accounting firm, I would 100% be all in on Google, a lot of your staff may want to be with Microsoft and a lot of your customers may want to be with Microsoft. And the reality is that the majority of our accounting customers are still on Microsoft as their primary platform. But as I said, if I was running an accounting firm, I'd be on Google and just have the best of both worlds by doing exactly what you have suggested. Using a subscription to 365 just for Word or just for Excel or just for whatever you need, but the rest of the ecosystem being on Google. That would mean my emails are on Google, my documents are stored in Google Drive, even if they're in Microsoft format, because in many cases, you're going to be able to get work done using Google Workspace online, in Google Docs, in Google Sheets with your customers, and just every now and again using an Excel format or a Microsoft format app for a specific use case. If you've got a spreadsheet and it's got 10,000 rows, sure, you're going to have to use Excel for that. If you've got particular macros that you've built over many years and you don't want to have to rebuild them in Google, sure, maybe you'll use Excel for that. But for everything else, if it's possible to use Google Sheets, that would of course be my recommendation. There's so many great features like the real-time collaboration, which just eats Microsoft for breakfast. I've got so many million videos on everything that you can do inside of Sheets and the AI features and everything. I'm not going to go into that over and over again, but that would be my recommendation. You've got to be committed to doing things the Googly way. That's important. If you're not excited about using Google Chat over Microsoft Teams and their chat program, if you're not excited about using Drive over OneDrive, which you should be because OneDrive sucks, if you're not excited about using the Google Doc formats wherever possible in your business, then maybe don't bother. Like Microsoft's got plenty of features these days and it does most of the things that Google does. If you really like the idea of buying a Microsoft Surface tablet and sitting in client meetings with the Surface, maybe stick with Microsoft. But if you can do it and you love Google, my recommendation is always Google. I'm very much in the Google fan camp. Okay, I think it's time to wrap it up there. I just received a little ping message from my team. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to see if it's anything urgent. There we go. It's that's my business partner letting me know that he's free for a chat. So I think I'm going to wrap up there. Thank you so much for joining. Sorry for the little interruption on internet in the middle. I've got a new internet connection happening. This is a new studio. So it'll be all set up soon. And I bid you adieu. Make sure you check out our quick fix service if you need something fixed immediately. If you're interested in Cloud Concierge, that's our all-you-can-eat managed service for small businesses that helps you to get everything you need done in the Google ecosystem and many, many other tools as well. So have a chat to our team about becoming a concierge member if you want support, consulting, and help to get the most out of this platform. And if you're interested, I'm going to go ahead and drop this into the live chat. We now have a systems check, which is a health check for your Google Workspace account. So if you have been using Google Workspace for a while and in the back of your mind, you're kind of thinking, you know what? I don't know if I'm getting the most out of this platform. I don't know what I don't know about Google Workspace. This is a free complimentary session where our team will take you through an audit of your account. We'll look into the back end. We'll see if you've got tick boxes ticked or unticked in the right or the wrong place. We'll help you fix those, give you recommendations on what you can do. You're not going to get a hard sell from our team. It's just a discovery and an exploration. And if it's valuable to you, awesome, great. We will, of course, offer you the opportunity to work with us on the conclusion of that and us giving you a report on what we found. But hey, if you want to go and change things yourself, make your own implementation, that's absolutely fine as well. So thanks for joining this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you say hello in the comments if you've been watching this, if you've been getting value. I always love the encouragement, keeps me going, and I'll see you in an upcoming live stream. Bye-bye.